Yeah, anyway, thanks everyone. Cybercrime is on the rise, and my presentation will cover the usage of deception and persuasion techniques that are used by one form of cybercrime, and that is NFT scams. So a bit about Amanda and myself. We were working on this mini project in June. I was supervising her quite closely, and this type of project topic is common to the work done by the psychology units within the Singapore government. What this means is that we are often writing to the law enforcement officers and helping to bring psychology and behavioral sciences to them so that they can tackle the crimes better in Singapore. But that being said, this is a caveat for my presentation. Okay, and then, well, an exploration, what are NFTs and how are they used in scams? Well, here's a picture of some cards. I was wondering whether anyone in the audience actually they recall owning trading cards when they were young, or you and your friends swapping cards with each other, used to collect stickers and stamps. And NFTs are more or less the online version of it. I will show you some famous collections, like the pictures here are from the Bored Apes Yacht Club. Is art. It's a collection of art. Famous celebrities like Paris Hilton, Jimmy Fallon, they also own some of this art. You also have some of these video clips by NBA. So NBA has been quite smart. They have had some video clips that are for sale in cryptocurrency, and they are basically video clips of their top basketball players, making wonderful shots, and people can actually own some of these video clips. And you also have Dribbler. Dribbler is like a football manager game where you can own players, but these are virtual players and you can trade them online with virtual currency. You can own stadiums, you can you can swap players around. I think in a sense, reading from the slides, NFTs are digital assets, representing real world art, music, or even in-game items, and they're bought using cryptocurrency. I mean, if you want to go into technicalities of that, NFTs are unique digital identifiers that are recorded in a blockchain. So uniquely identified means that the technology allows you to certify authenticity and ownership. So there have been some pretty prominent scams in the Southeast Asian region where I'm from. There's this huge celebrity musician, Jay, who actually fell prey to one of these scams. He lost about $500,000 of artwork. But of course, it's important to note that not just celebrities have been victims. A large proportion of NFT buyers are millennials. So these are your young working adults in their 20s to 40s who have money to invest, but also they have families to support. So the scam will not just affect the victim's emotional or financial state, but also their family's livelihood. So Amanda and myself, we started this project because we noticed traditional deception techniques in various industries appearing in NFT frauds. So we wanted to map out how these deception and persuasion techniques have been utilized by the cyber criminals. It is our hope to identify similarities so that we can better understand and support the work of cyber deception detection and cyber prevention of the future. So for our study, we examined 50 cases of NFT scams. It's a modest amount considering that the first NFT was launched in 2015. Also, not every NFT scam is reported to the authorities, but when it does occur, it's very common for online netizens to share the news with one another. So we turn to quite a few notable sources, Twitter, news websites on tech incidences, news websites specifically on NFT incidences. And we were also quite cautious to examine any of the cases with our exemption criteria. I suppose anyone here can also approach me later if you want to know what were some of the cases that we looked at. But I would like to just jump straight to our key findings because we were interested in identifying what were the types of NFT scams and also to identify the traditional deception techniques that have been used by the scammers. So the first thing we did was to read through these 50 cases and group those who were similar. We found that there were 5 groups, and these are actually the 5 types of NFT scams that are most commonly found. You have phishing, fake NFT projects, fraudulent investment schemes, fake NFT artwork, and false support. So the most common kind is actually phishing, which is about 20 out of 50 cases. And this was the same type that Jay, the musician, actually experienced when he lost his art. So what happens is the scammers would pretend to be a legitimate organization. They'll pretend to be a bank. They'll write to the person. They'll trick the victim into releasing passwords, sensitive information, trick the victim into authorizing transactions, so on and so forth. Yeah, but of course, this is our very first finding, and very simply, there are just 5 main types of NFT scams. So the second thing that we did was to comb through the 50 cases and quote for the presence or absence of deception techniques and persuasion techniques. I'll show you our code in a while, but what we found was that deception techniques were used in all 50 of the cases, and very often persuasion techniques were used as well. And this is why we team our slide as little combination, because this is something that we feel we need to educate cyber users, especially from a law enforcement setting. We need them to be alert. We need them to be careful. Yeah, we need to put this into cyber prevention education. Okay, so we created our code using traditional deception techniques, but we chose to go beyond the kind that we usually see in investigative interviewing. So not just outright lies and exaggerations, but other industries as well. So for example, advertising, NFT collections are always advertised online with attractive offers, special deals, one-of-a-kind art, and in our 50 cases, there were scammers who used misleading claims and exaggerations, and even getting celebrities to endorse NFTs. So I think Kim Kardashian was going to be a trouble for that as well. Okay, so we also included persuasion techniques into our coding template. This is because persuasion is likely to be used in combination with deception techniques. And we have seen this being used in other kinds of social engineering schemes. Right, I do have a bit of time, I think. So let me just share you one case from the victim perspective, which happened earlier this year. From the victim perspective, what happens is they actually always join information forums. In this case, it was Discord, to find out more on how they can invest and make more money, especially in the economic downturn that's happening nowadays. A lot of people want to make more money quickly. So they will get on there, and then very soon they would come across an announcement. So what they do is they'll click on announcement. It would say important announcement, YouTube Genesis Min Pass. And that sounds amazing because YouTube is huge. So they click on it, they realize that this is a bot, and that's actually no surprise because a lot of Discord channels actually use bots. So they would think that this is from the administrators. It's a legitimate message, but of course, the scammers are actually using a bit of mimicry, using the persuasion technique of authority to sway people into believing them. Yeah, and then the victim will continue, and they'll read on, and they realize the first thing they see is 80% gone, and then they'll be like, oh, this is an amazing opportunity. There's only 20% left to purchase. Using direct lies, of course, and scarcity of persuasion technique. And then they'll read things like, oh, we have partnered with YouTube, they're releasing a mint pass, it's free, and there's other like insane utilities for purchasing this NFT art. And from a gain framing perspective, this is something that would lure people into buying this NFT. And so you can see all the deception techniques coming to play, the phishing link, which is basically an invention, decoys of offers, and really just a sense that if they don't purchase this now, they will never get this great deal again. And they will click it, and they will then be scammed. So you can see that actually there's quite a lot of combination of deception and persuasion techniques that were used. This is just one example. Yeah, I know this project sounds a bit simple, but surprisingly, the law enforcement finds this useful. They ask us questions. They ask us questions like, why are frauds so successful? Why are people, adults even, falling prey to scams? So my colleagues and I have found that deception detection research has been useful in explaining the observations. I think my time is almost up. But I do have some thoughts on what we can do with these findings. I mean, the research is very exploratory at this point, so if there's time, we can go further and look into the data and understand what's the most common type of deception. We can increase the sample size, or we can even refine our coding. But there's a bit of urgency coming from working in the law enforcement field because of people are getting scammed. Um, well, what my thoughts is that we're quite aware that our clientele, or rather my bosses, are law enforcement officers. So there's actually a lot of interest in cyber education, getting people to stay safe online. I know most of the time deception research is to help officers get better at detecting liars and criminals and threats. That's no problem. But I do see a shift into helping the average person on the street become a better lie detector. Um, that's just because this rising cyber crimes creates harm to the society and makes the work of law enforcement very difficult. Um, I think there are good non-profit organizations and government agencies who can actually benefit from the good work that we all do in terms of deception detection. Yeah, I hope I'm not rocking the boat with my way of thinking, but I'm actually open to hearing your thoughts, comments, or questions. Yeah, and thank you very much, everyone, for your time.